Hey there! This is the story of that lightning decision. A $2.1 billion aircraft hunted, a $400 million air defense network reduced to a smoking scar, and a single morning that reset the balance of power over the Pacific. Who fired first matters less than what happened next. Before we dive in, kindly like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates. It's 9:42 a.m. August 12th. Clear skies over the South China Sea split open when a shadowed silhouette slid into view. The B-2 Spirit. A flying wing with a 172-foot span, built to look tiny on radar yet massive in capability. To Washington, that flight was routine. International airspace, standard patrol. To Beijing, it was a violation. And in less than a minute, China made a decision that could have set the world on fire. They fired on America's B-2. The planet seemed to hold its breath. In a hardened missile control bunker on China's southern coast, orders were sent. An HQ-19 anti-stealth interceptor screamed off the rail. Not some garden variety missile, but a weapon engineered to catch the hardest targets. Packing a 400-pound fragmentation warhead and streaking at roughly Mach 14, near 10,700 miles per hour. It tore into the sky. A column of flame and smoke clawed upward, hunting a ghost. The $2.1 billion B-2. Inside the cockpit, the threat display flashed red. Warning, incoming. 42 seconds remained on the clock. 50 miles evaporated in a heartbeat, but this bomber was built to survive. The pilot pushed hard, banking and throwing every countermeasure he had at the missile's seeker. At 35,000 feet, a blinding white burst lit the heavens. The interceptor detonated harmlessly yards away. From launch to finish, 1 minute and 54 seconds, 114 seconds in which Beijing had stepped over a line. Hawaii's Indo-Pacific Command watched alarms flood their screens. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a technical glitch. To Washington, it was an opening act in a high-stakes game. What would you do as Commander-in-Chief? Strike back immediately, or wait for China's explanation? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments. The moment the pilot confirmed he was alive, a priority report raced through secure channels to Indo-PACOM. Satellites and AWACS painted the rest of the picture. The missile had launched from a hardened site, roughly 142 nautical miles from Scarborough Shoal. The signature fit a chilling profile, China's newest anti-stealth. First strike network, not meant for warnings, but for war. US rules of engagement were blunt. Fire on an American aircraft in international airspace is not a mistake. It's aggression. By 9:57 a.m., the Situation Room was lit up. The President, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and the Indo-PACOM Commander watched secure feeds. The question wasn't if the US would respond. It was how. The math was stark. One B-2 represents roughly 10% of America's stealth bomber fleet. Losing even a single jet wasn't just a $2.1 billion hit. It was a strategic earthquake. Minutes later, the orders dropped. Operation Iron Dagger was greenlit. Neutralize the missile battery, blind the radars, and crater the launch site. All while minimizing civilian harm. Countdown. T-minus 6 hours. Across Guam's tarmacs and on the decks of the USS Ronald Reagan, crews went from zero to action. Engines spun up, bomb bays opened, pilots checked their straps. This counterstrike wouldn't just answer an attack. It was a message to the whole Pacific: don't push us. By 10:15 a.m., Operation Iron Dagger was no longer just a code name. It was locked in on Indo-PACOM's mission board, ready to go. This wasn't a warning shot. This was surgical high-tech destruction. built to erase a Chinese missile site off the face of the Earth in under 90 seconds. At the center of the mission, the most stealthy, most expensive bomber ever flown, the B-2 Spirit. Just 19 exist in the entire world, and 2 of them were already airborne. Call signs: Nightfall 1 and Nightfall 2. Between them, 16. GBU-31J dams, 2,000-pound precision bombs that don't just hit, they hit exactly where they're told. We're talking within 30 feet, from over 5 miles in the sky. The target had no chance, but the B-2s weren't flying solo, they had backup. And it was fierce. 2 F-35C Lightning IIs flanked them, acting as their eyes and shields. Their AN/APG-81A ESA radar could track 1,000 targets at once. At the same time, 8 FA-18 Super Hornets screamed off the deck of the USS Ronald Reagan, launching a swarm of decoys. 32 MALDJS. These weren't just fake blips. Each one mimicked the radar signature of a B-52 bomber and blasted out 500-watt jamming signals. Within seconds, Chinese radar screens were chaos. Phantom bombers were everywhere. Over 100 radar returns. Which were real? Which were fake? There wasn't time to figure it out. Meanwhile, EA-18G Growlers rolled in, walling off 150 miles of coastline in electronic static, jamming radios, scrambling signals, shutting down enemy comms like someone had yanked the cord from their war network. The strike was coming from 3 sides. The decoys swarmed in from the east, the F-35s slid in low from the south, and the B-2s. They threaded the needle through a narrow radar corridor from the southwest, flying so quietly and stealthily their radar signature was smaller than a golf ball. By T-minus 4 hours, the entire strike package was in the air. Engines hot, weapons locked, jammers up. Somewhere on China's southern coast, that HQ-19 missile battery sat quietly, unaware that $6 billion in stealth aircraft, 80,000 pounds of precision bombs, and more than 1 million pounds of jet fuel were already on the way. And they weren't turning back. Then came the moment. 2:03 a.m. local time. Over the Philippine Sea, the mission crossed the commit line. Nightfall 1 and Nightfall 2 were now within 320 nautical miles of their target, practically invisible. With a radar cross-section of just 0.001 square meters, even China's best radar would need to be within 25 miles just to see them. And even then, only for a second. At 35,000 feet, their engines whispered. Heat, signature, almost nothing. For infrared sensors, the B-2s were phantoms. Up ahead, the real mind game had already begun. The 32 MALJ decoys were flooding Chinese airspace, jamming signals and impersonating bombers. On radar, it didn't look like 2 stealth aircraft. It looked like a full-on B-52 strike wing barreling in from the east. And it worked. China's HQ-9 and HQ-22 missile batteries turned east, chasing ghosts. Radar arrays locked onto decoys. Launchers swiveled in the wrong direction. Enemy operators wasted time on illusions, while the real threat slid in, undetected. Meanwhile, the F-35s prowled the edge of detection, low, silent, deadly. Their sensors turned the night into a live 3D threat map, able to detect a missile launch 800 miles away. Each jet carried AGM-88 GAAR-GM missiles, ready to obliterate any radar that dared blink. It was a trap. And the enemy took the bait. 2:14 a.m. Nightfall 1 and Nightfall 2 crossed the Chinese coast at 31,000 feet, dropping to weapons release altitude. Below them, a hardened 3-acre missile complex, radar dome, launchers, command center, protected by reinforced blast walls. Inside the cockpit, the B-2's radar lit up the ground below. The site was mapped in real time down to sub-meter precision. At the same moment, the JDAMs synced to GPS, accurate within 18 inches. Then came the call from Nightfall 1, weapons free. Within 15 seconds, both B-2s dropped their payloads. 16 GBU-31 V-3Bs, 2,000-pound bunker busters, fell silently into the dark at nearly the speed of sound. The first two JDAMs slammed into the radar dome, shredding its massive array in a storm of metal and fire. Then came the launcher hits, massive explosions erupting as solid fuel boosters ignited in chain reactions, lighting up the sky like a 4th of July gone wrong. Finally, two bunker busters drilled deep into the HQ, punching through layers of reinforced concrete before detonating inside the command center. In a flash, servers, control stations, and reinforced steel vanished in a roar of white-hot destruction. And just like that, the HQ-19 threat was gone. From the first explosion to the last, it took just 88 seconds. That once fortified missile site? Gone. Reduced to rubble and flames. Infernos burned at over 2,000 degrees. Stockpiled ammo cooked off in violent chain reactions, each blast echoing for miles along the Chinese coast. Locals would later say they heard the thunderous booms from 20 miles away. But the B-2 spirits? They didn't blink. No afterburners. No show of force. Just a smooth bank west and a silent glide back into the darkness. Ghosts once again. The F-35s hovered a little longer, their infrared sensors scanning for life. They didn't need long. The kill was confirmed. Radar, dead. Comms, silent. Launchers, obliterated. Time check, 2:21 a.m. The strike force was already heading back across open water. Mission complete. For Beijing, the damage wasn't just in dollars. It was in pride. Their most advanced anti-stealth system, the HQ-19, was destroyed in less than 2 minutes, by aircraft they never even saw coming. By 2:37 a.m., satellite images confirmed what the pilots already knew. The missile site was gone. Combat capability? 100% eliminated. Then, silence. Where there was once a coastal fortress, now only wreckage remained. The radar tower? Snapped in half like a spear. Missile launchers? Twisted heaps of glowing steel. The command bunker? Replaced by a smoldering crater 30 feet deep. When the Pentagon's first assessment came in, the numbers were staggering. 3 HQ-19 missile launchers destroyed. $60 million each. 1 advanced phased array radar system. $150 million gone. 4 support vehicles wiped out. An entire command center erased. In under 2 minutes, China lost nearly $400 million in military hardware. But this wasn't just about cost. The real blow, strategic. With the HQ-19 site offline, a 120-mile stretch of China's coastal air defense grid went dark. One of Beijing's most critical maritime corridors, now exposed. A blind spot for US forces in the Pacific. That opening was gold. Carrier strike groups, recon drones, surveillance flights, all suddenly able to maneuver without fear of long-range anti-stealth missiles. It was the kind of tactical advantage you can't buy, only take. Then at 3:15 a.m., the president addressed the world. Backed by satellite proof and radar data, the statement was firm and unflinching. An American B-2 bomber was attacked, without provocation, while flying in international airspace. The United States has responded under Article 51 of the UN Charter, our right to self-defense. His tone sharpened. Let this be clear. We will defend our aircraft. We will defend our aircrews. And we will defend our freedom to operate wherever international law allows. The message was unmistakable, and the shockwaves, immediate. Allies took notice. Rivals rethought their next moves. and across the Indo-Pacific, the balance of power visibly shifted. Within 6 hours, world reaction flooded in. The Philippines, Japan, and Australia all issued statements backing the US, calling China's missile launch reckless and destabilizing. Asian stock markets wobbled. A brief dip as fears of escalation loomed. But as the world saw the strike was measured, precise, and controlled, confidence returned. Markets bounced back. Intercepted communications painted a picture of panic inside China's Eastern Theater Command. Mobile HQ-19 launchers were being rushed inland. Radar frequencies scrambled. Recon satellites frantically repositioned to cover what US analysts were already calling the Scarborough Gap. But rushed inland. Radar frequencies scrambled. Recon satellites frantically repositioned to cover what US analysts were already calling the Scarborough Gap. But no matter how fast China moved, they couldn't erase the sting of what just happened. By sunrise, the B-2 Spirits were already back in Guam. Engines cooling, stealthy black skin shimmering in the early light. The mission had lasted just over 9 hours, 6,000 nautical miles, in and out. And it left Beijing staring down a brutal truth. When America chooses to strike, even the most advanced defenses can fall, and fast. What began at 9:42 a.m. with a lone B-2 Spirit slicing silently through contested skies, ended with a perfectly coordinated strike that reduced one of China's most advanced anti-stealth systems to burning wreckage in under 90 seconds. The world was still processing it, but military analysts were already calling it textbook. 3 reasons stood out. 1. Unmatched stealth. Decades after its debut, the B-2 Spirit remains a nightmare for enemy radar, and nothing else on Earth can touch it. 2. Seamless joint operations. Air Force, Navy, electronic warfare. Every branch moved in lockstep. No gaps, no delays. 3. Political resolve. When the moment came, the US didn't hesitate. No drawn-out debates, just decisive action. The message was sent and received. The next time a hostile radar lights up an American aircraft, there'll be no questions about the response, only how fast it'll come and how hard it'll hit. If this story pulled you in, smash that like button to support the channel. Subscribe for more deep dive military breakdowns. And share this to others, see the truth behind the headlines. This was the Scarborough incident, and its echoes are only just beginning.